Good morning, Syndicate members. Guess what? It is Wednesday,
Woo!
9 a.m. Central Time, live from Austin, Texas. That means it's winning on Wednesday. I'm hanging out with my good friend, Indiana Joe. Hope everybody is having a fantastic day. Joe, how are you doing, my friend?
Man, I'm doing good, dude. It's been I'm still on that freaking moment. We talked about it last week. Just that momentum from coming home from SWAT, dude. Like we're still riding the wave. Even after Memorial Day weekend, man, like we were right back in the office just freaking getting it.
Just
So I'm doing
surfing.
good. I'm doing good. I'll share my weekly win real quick and kick it over to you. So we got so it wasn't softball again. I'm losing, man. We lost by 2 last night. It was a good game, lost in the last inning. But no, seriously, we are making this big push on the life insurance side, right? So just had a guy go out and get licensed here probably within 2 weeks. Got approved this past Friday. Went and got his fingerprints done yesterday. He's in the office already this morning before 8, training. 21-year-old just getting after it. So I freaking love that.
Matthew, is that his name, I think?
Garrett Matthews. Yeah.
Garrett.
So
Garrett Matthews. I was
um,
close.
young and hungry. Right, it reminds
Nice.
me of back when I started, and I started when I was 19. So, but that's definitely my win. Super excited to get him up and running. So,
Awesome. So you got a couple of live producers in your crew that are kind of growing that space out for you, right?
yep, yeah, we got 3 right now. So, it's
Right on.
it
Okay.
happened pretty quickly, but I want more. So we're making a push. I want more.
Yeah,
I want
yeah, yeah.
more of them, people that can go get licensed in 2 weeks.
Man, I've noticed, just to stick with this for a second, because you talked about riding that wave coming off a SWAT, dude, you are on quite a tsunami of a trajectory, to say, right? And I'll just tell you what I've witnessed since coming out of SWAT. Obviously, you're putting on new life producers and growing your business that way. Um, your group, this group, Insurance Syndicate, is blowing up. Members are coming in left and right, right?
hmm
You're obviously a king of that. But then also, I noticed a little icon appeared. You're speaking on another stage coming up next year. Is that
I
correct?
am. Yep, at agency success. I guess that should definitely be a win because I'm like, one, I didn't even know I was going to be like, I didn't know I was selected yet to speak or something. And then I see that and I was like, oh shit, dude, I'm on a cover with Damon John, dude. Like, that's hype. I'm like
That's
posting
big
that.
time, brother. I was
Yeah.
proud of you when I saw that. I was looking at that, uh, I guess the post or whatever, the thumbnail that
hmm
Nick Ayers had put out, and I was looking at the speakers, and I went, "Wait a second, is that Joe Kampert?
The
Come
only
on
one rocking
now."
a hat.
Absolutely, man. But good.
Branding,
That's
branding.
that's super awesome, man. Good for you. Obviously, anybody that's on your team is on a great trajectory because you guys are absolutely killing it over there at Redwood, and I'm proud to be able to associate with you and hang out with y'all's crew, man. Y'all are a good group of
Appreciate
guys.
it. Thank you,
Yeah,
man. Appreciate you.
absolutely.
How you
Absolutely.
been? How's your week going?
I am doing fantastic. I'm in a similar situation as you, man. Just enjoying the wave coming out of SWAT. What a great event that was. And then carrying through with these Medicare modules that I'm doing in the group has been very energizing. I got a lot of great feedback out of it. So I would say that's easily my weekly win. I had several people contact me yesterday to say thank you, and that's always something that's nice to get, right? Someone come out and just tell you that
Yep.
they appreciate the effort that you're putting forth to help educate folks out there. And so I'm glad everybody's chewing it up. We got a whole bunch more of those to come. Get excited.
Yep.
And I'm definitely excited about my trips coming up. So that's going to be a little crazy and wacky, but it's a perfect end cap to a great season traveling around, lifting up and educating
Yes.
agents out there in the insurance space. So I'm super pumped about it, man. And I'm
Absolutely.
super pumped about the guest we got on today. She is another one of those people that is trending, that is growing, that is on a superior trajectory. I got to
hmm
see her speak at Medicare Con. You were there as well. She is a master of branding. I'm really excited to have her on. And it's cool because I've been putting these Medicare modules out in the group, and now we have a phenomenal superstar in the Medicare space to introduce some of you guys to. And one of the best things I can tell you about her from what I've gotten to know is that she's a master of branding, and she's definitely proof that it's smart for any agent or agency owner to learn to brand themselves,
hmm
not the companies that they work for. Because
Yep.
that's the only way that you're truly going to set yourself apart is unique and special and memorable to the prospects and client base in the marketplace that you're choosing. And
Yep.
I
And
met her
anybody
virtually.
PNC too. This goes for PNC people too. This goes for pretty much every single vertical you can write business in for insurance.
Absolutely. That truth is across all lines 100%. You really have to learn to brand yourself to stand apart. Because if you're just branding yourself as State Farm and I'm not picking on State Farm or United Healthcare or Humana, the companies that you represent, you're just going to mix in with all the other guys that have that same brand. And it's
Yep.
going to be tougher to stick out. State Farm might have been a bad example because I remember still to this day the name of the agent that ran the State Farm office in my neighborhood that I grew up in because I drove past him every day. His name was John Phelps. So that dude
Good
stuck
name.
out to me. But I mean, I was a
Okay.
little kid. You're a sponge. You soak up information everywhere you see it. And there, back then, that was the 70s. If anybody remembers that era,
Oh,
had a
years
music.
years
Yeah,
before I was born.
yeah. I had a music teacher that said if you remember anything about the 70s, you weren't there.
That's
But
good.
anyway, I am super excited to bring this young lady on. She is from Tennessee. She is very special in the industry. She's going to drop some knowledge on you guys on branding and kind of tell a lot about her story. So let's please bring her on. Her name is Misty Bolt, but she is better otherwise known as Medicare Misty.
Hey,
What
good
is happening?
morning
Good
from
morning.
the
It's great to
beach.
have you on from the beach. Like, come on, that's a win already.
See,
She's just
already.
checking boxes off. And real
Boom.
quick, I want to be clear for something for Joe, real quick, not to interrupt you, Misty, but just to make sure he's not confused. It's Medicare Misty, not Medicaid Misty.
Oh
This
yeah,
girl, she is cashing checks. She ain't standing in line waiting for them. So this is
I know you're
Medicare Misty.
hired to introduce me anytime, Tony, ever.
Hey, they don't call me the Medicare MC for nothing. So
That's right. That's
thank
right.
you so much for coming on the show.
Thanks
If you
for
wouldn't
having
mind,
me.
just take a moment and kind of introduce yourself to our audience, kind of let them know who you are, what you're up to, kind of what you're doing. And then we'll kind of just run into it from there. I got some good questions for you.
Well, the first good thing is you can do this job from the beach, which is nice. You had asked me if I already had a win this week, and my husband met the neighbors from Illinois. And so they're supposed to be 65 in the next year. So that's a win-win. Your vacation's paid for when that happens.
Yep.
Absolutely, man.
And it's a team effort, not a team effort like you and Grace yet. But I got him slowly motivating to come on board. So I've been doing this for 17 years, believe it or not. I was 5 years old when I got my first Medicare license.
Came out of the womb just writing
Yeah,
insurance.
right.
Let's go,
Just
baby.
writing Medicare left and right.
Uh,
They were like, "What's this girl doing?" So it was by accident. I didn't want Medicare. Of course, nobody signs up, and they say insurance isn't sexy. I try to make it sexy by branding it, making it fun by branding it, and having a good time. As you know, coming off from SWAT, I think we're all on that same kind of high and motivating and trying to get people in this industry that need to be in this industry, whether it's PNC, life, Medicare. There's a lot of people that are dying. There's a lot of people that are getting sick. And so somebody's got to help them, and it might as well, be us. And I got to start at an age where nobody really was in the business that was under 60, which was kind of nice. And then to be the only one in my town doing it that really wasn't branding or doing anything. And it kind of was accident, just out there hustling. And I went on a radio station with one of my good buddies, and he's like, "Hey, Medicare Misty's here." And I went, "Yeah, she is." Boom, drop the mic. And that's how it started. Yeah, like that. I wanted to be like Coca-Cola and McDonald's, where you can see them everywhere. Every town you go, you're going to see a McDonald's or you're going to see a Coca-Cola sign. And then I wanted a jingle, because how cool of having your own jingle.
mhm.
And it sticks in your head. How did we learn the ABCs? By singing. So it sticks in your head. The message sticks in there. And so hopefully it sticks in there at the right time when they need Medicare. And it has. It's worked very well. I know a lot of people like that song. I can't get it out of my head. And so it's on TV. It's on radio. I'm on a bus, a city bus. Have my own magazine, which I don't. I'm trying to figure a way to use it as, right now it's just a way to keep retention from my
Smart.
from my clients, to
Are
stay
you
in front
doing
of
that
them.
through Reminder Media or is that your own deal?
That's my own deal before I knew Reminder Media. So it's my
Okay.
own deal, and it's local stories. It's top agents. I put in there it's quarterly. So a top agent goes in there, a top group like a retirement home or a home healthcare agency. And then I put my clients in there. So like last month, I think you heard this about the quilts. She actually was the first person that had Medicare signing up parties for me. And she's a widow now, and now she makes quilts. So I put her ad in my magazine, and she got over 100 sales from
Wow.
quilting that I actually got to give back, which is such a great feeling when, that's what we're in this industry for. And to be able to help her, conquer that was pretty amazing. And then my clients can't say, I don't know who my agent is, because they get birthday cards, they get Christmas cards, they get my quarterly magazine. We're going to start doing, and two of my agents did this a long time ago, where you get with your clients and you do annual reviews. So you stay in front of them annually and say there's new changes from all these phone calls that, I used to never have to deal with. So we're doing annual reviews to stay in front of them, also. And say, bring a friend, even though it's an annual review, bring a friend, and we do Medicare 101, and then we can talk about products, after that.
Good.
So just put my name wherever golf. It's on golf.
So I've got a.
You have a race car, don't you? Sorry, Joe.
race car,
Don't you have a race car too?
Yeah.
How cool is that? Come on now.
I
I mean,
know.
Joe's got his name on a softball team. This girl's got a race car.
race
and that's
car.
pretty cool. And your race car is driven by a female driver. Is that right?
Yes, 18 years old. She used her college money. She's in my next a magazine that's coming out. She's on the cover to help her because she really doesn't want to go to school. She just wants to race. And it's really, really expensive. And her grandpa raced, which is where she got it from. So not only is she 18 and a female, she has a brother in the military, and then a small brother that has Down syndrome, and just an amazing family story. She also has a farm. She says she rescues animals and works 2 jobs to do this. So
wow,
pretty amazing.
Take notes.
Woman.
Take notes.
Yeah.
Wow.
I
So
told her if she didn't like it, she could do Medicare.
and that's where I wanted. So
Safer.
before we go any deeper into Medicare, because obviously, I mean, everything you just rattled off, we could go for hours on, because it's everything that agents need to be doing, right? But I want to actually I want to go back, because you said, so you said the word hustling, right? And that's kind of how you fell into Medicare. What were you doing before? Because obviously, I think how you're set up and what you've really grown to be, and you're doing all this before Reminder Media even was a thing, right? Like, what were you doing before Medicare, and kind of where did almost like these insights come from that, like, dude, I need to be like a Coca-Cola? Like, what were you doing before Medicare that kind of got you here?
See, Joe, that's totally God. I tell you what, because I was doing Unum, which was a disability company. So they would call I was selling to the broker so they could sell to their clients on phone. So they would call in, want a disability or a long-term care quote. I would give them a quote and then tell them how to sell it. And a friend of mine come to me and she's like, you need outside sales. And I was a single mom at this time. Actually, I was pregnant at that time. And then single mom, obviously, afterwards. And in this company, I was top sales rep there. And my best friend that didn't finish college, she said, you need to get into sales. And I'm like, I don't really want to talk anybody into anything. I'm good. And I want pharmaceutical, because I had worked in Enterprise Rent-A-Car, and all my friends went into pharmaceutical, and they were getting the nice car and the gas card and the $50,000 salary. And I was single, so it wasn't a bad idea to be hanging out with some doctors back then. Which, God.
Networking, baby.
Husband's talking to the neighbors, right? He's talking to the neighbors still.
But God had another plan. He did not want that for me. So HealthSpring had moved into Chattanooga, which is now Cigna. And she had done some interviewing, and I guess I went to an agency because I wasn't getting anywhere. I'd interviewed 25 times for pharmaceutical and never got it. 25 times. After that, you talk about rejection. You're like, what's wrong with me? But I had to trust God. And this lady came in and she said, do you want to sell Medicare? And at that time I was like, I have no idea what Medicare is. What do you need to do that? And she's like, you don't know what Medicare is? And I said, no. And she said, well, it's health insurance when you get 65 or you're disabled. And I said, oh. I said, okay. I said, do I have to have a license or go to school for that? And she said, yeah. And she said, I'll teach you everything you need to know about Medicare, but what I can't teach you is personality. And that woman saved my life, because fast forward 17 years, I started with HealthSpring, opened the office here, moved to Humana, worked my way up to sales manager with Humana, moved, and Blue Cross offered me a position to come home. And then I came home and helped. There was their first outside sales agent with Blue Cross. And then when healthcare reformed, they got rid of the FMOs and they got rid of us. So that's really how Medicare Misty was born. I had the luxury of working for Fortune 500 companies to learn the business, which is, I tell my agents, it's way easier to focus on one product, with one company, than coming out and doing all, 5 or 7 products, how many you have in your area. So I try to fill them out, and I say, just pick 2 you like, pick 2 you come comfortable with, and then we can add them as you get, a little bit more advanced, because it's overwhelming. It's so overwhelming. Where do I start? And it was funny. I was telling one of my new agents, one of the days you're running around with your head cut off. And I said, yeah, just go because we have a supply room. I just go in the supply room and get the book. Okay, the book of 7 companies.
All right.
So he's looking at me, and my husband was sitting in the office in the back, and he goes, babe, I'm going to think you're going to need a little bit more explanation than go get the book, because he's standing there like a loss. And I thought, oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. If I ever talk like that and you're thinking, whoa, wait a minute, I'm still new here. So sometimes I have to step down, because once you do it, for so long, you kind of forget, I'm that duck. But I really wasn't, because I only had one product. But I still told the lady from HealthSpring, I said, I really think you have the wrong girl. Like, I'm never going to understand this stuff. So if you're out there and you feel that way, there is hope out there that it all sticks in. And it was persistency. I had a small child, so that was my, hungry. Single moms are hungry. And I built my agency like that, to give back to single moms. That was my kind of passion, is to give them the freedom that, one, they think they don't deserve. One of my agents met, and I don't think she's on here and she doesn't mind me telling, but at the Waffle House recently, single mom, going to school, kicking a bad habit. And those are the people that I think is what I'm going to steal James Whitley's saying, where he takes the addiction and puts it towards something else. Like, I've never even thought of that. I come from 2 addicts. So to even take that focus and do that is just, wow. It's true. We're all addicted to something. Why can't it be something good, that can change generations? And I think that's what I was doing. A couple of the agents is the one who brought that to my attention. You have just changed generation, kind of curses, because you help me, which is going to help my children, which is going to help their children. And we don't realize how big this industry, can be, and how touching it can be. And, it's hard, but pick your hard.
Right. Right. I love that. I think everything you kind of just said there was a couple things, obviously, that where you exemplify leadership. Right. And I loved that you said, sometimes you gotta kind of come back, right? Because and I'm experiencing this even too, trying to bring on new people, and even hey, not everybody's a Medicare Misty or a Joe Kampert or a Tony Merwin, right? And we've been doing this, and I know I'm baby-faced, but I've been doing it for 8 years. Somebody who's coming in 2 weeks, I need to kind of go back to, okay, where are they actually at? Not, hey, dude, you need to be acting like me, who's been in this for 8 years, right? And so I love that you said that. Again, I wanted to give just a shout out and a kudos to you. I believe you exemplify amazing leadership, not only in your business, but then in your community and everything that you're about. So kudos to you.
Absolutely.
Thank you. And I'm surrounded by y'all.
25 times getting rejected by Big Pharma.
Yeah, 25.
How, if you don't mind, I'd kind of like to just touch on that a bit, because there's a lot of things going on in there. Number one, that's a hell of a lot of persistency on your part to do 25 interviews. I would not have done that. I know for a fact I would have probably given it 3 shots and like, these leads suck. Move on. Um, how long a period of time was that?
Probably 4 months. Yeah, I
4
had
months?
4 months, and I had severance package, and I didn't want to use it. I wanted to
Okay.
use, I wanted to save it and put it towards a 401k, for my son. I had never known. Just a little side note, coming from two teenage parents, um, I had to figure out, and that's what I wanted to teach my agents is you have to save. Like there's some that get into it and they buy these fancy cars that you hear the athletes. I've seen it in Medicare. They buy these fancy houses, these fancy cars, and they're on the hamster wheel of trying to keep up.
Yeah.
And so to surround them by financial advisors, one that I partner with, to surround them by, PNC people, to let them know. I mean, there was ones that didn't have insurance, and hey, you need to have insurance. If you hit somebody, there goes your whole life. I mean, just small things that we think people should know that I didn't know growing up with two single parents that didn't teach me. So a lot of the single moms did not have that, kind of knowledge and things. So with wanting to do that, because I wanted that lifestyle so bad, I was making $35,000 when Lena was born. I was making $1,100 bring home. Rent was $500 and daycare was $500. I mean, I was barely making it, and not going to get into the whole long story of, trying to just be a parent on top of juggling a career, juggling, life itself in
Right.
general, just trying to be a good mother too, on top of a good businesswoman, on top of a good friend. I learned everything I've learned, I think is for a reason, and it's to give back. And once we do that, God says you can't help enough people. You can't outgive him. And the more people you help, the more you get what you want. In this industry, we did not have what we have now. Like y'all are everybody coming up is very blessed. We didn't have SWAT. We didn't have 8%. We didn't have Medicare Con. We didn't have a Joe. We didn't have a Tony. Because back then it was like, here's my stuff over here. Don't look, and even I was even scared to share once it started. And I still, if you're in my town, it's hard to share. But if you're outside, I'll share. Okay. But you come to my city, I get a little bit of a,
It's your city though, right? It's like, come on, there's plenty of cities out there.
49 other ones. Come on. So persistence, I wanted it. I wanted that lifestyle since I was a little girl. I didn't want to be broke. I didn't want to tell my son that we couldn't afford it. I was able to put him in private school, change my generational, curse, from doing that, and to get him, of course, he's the first one not to go to college, which is funny, which he has to figure it out. I'm trying to get Joe maybe to mentor him a little bit, but I did take him to see Top Gun, and boy, he was fired up. I was like, if I could just turn that into some insurance sales. I mean, the whole time he just
turn it into a Navy application if you're not careful.
Better be careful. Yeah, seriously, insurance is way safer. Way.
Absolutely. But I think of, being rejected by one industry 25 times. Obviously, that says volumes of your persistency. I assume that kind of, I don't know if maybe building a callus is the right word to use here, but I assume that was a huge lesson for you to learn going into and starting your insurance career. Because obviously, when you start in insurance, you're going to hear rejection constantly.
Right.
It's the number one thing you hear on a daily basis. So, did you find it just easy to move into insurance and deal with rejection because of that experience where a whole industry 25 times in a row is like, no, we don't need any Medicare Misty out here. We're all good with our $50,000 reps. There's a bigger purpose for you. Move on down the road, girl. Like do you feel like that primed you?
I do now, like looking back, I do now, but I didn't have a choice. It was either I was going to stay making $35,000 and robbing Peter to pay Paul. I mean, the guy here at advanced checks, every time I'd come in, I would do 200. Every 2 weeks I'd borrow money, and it was like a coming joke. And I said, one day, Ray, one day you're never going to see me again. One day.
That's
and
awesome.
I get teary eyed about that because in this world, you either learn how to rob Peter to pay Paul, or you really rob Peter, to pay Paul. And some people get in that desperate mode, and I've seen it even with new agents that are like, this is a do or die situation. I'm either going to make it or I'm going to have to go back. And I think we talked about that at Medicare Con about burning the ship, where, a lot of us go to where it's comfortable. So they keep going back to what's comfortable.
Yeah.
And I had 2 agents that I would get so frustrated because I would be like, just go do this. Don't go back to doing, but it's, and Tony, I steal your line every line about doing the do, because you go show them. And
You gotta say it right, first of all.
I know. Sorry. I do speak Mystonese. Sorry about that.
Oh my gosh, that branding
That's a long
on
do.
point, Mystonese. That's amazing.
But after you teach them, you're just like, go, just keep doing it. Just keep doing it every day, and it's going to pay off. I promise you. And you just see in their voice and you hear it. And I think that's the same thing with me. I just didn't have an option for my son. It was either, we were going to be in that same, and they were going to tell me whether I was going to get a bonus, whether I was going to get, and this is another not so funny story about Mystonese. So I also interviewed for manager not to leave from the company that I was doing the disability and long-term quotes, probably not as much as the pharmaceutical sales, but probably 10 to 15 times I got turned down. And these are the excuses that I got turned down. There weren't excuses, because now I love God's humor, because it was because I couldn't write. So in my proposals, even though I was top agent, I had a lot of misspellings. Well, we didn't have word spell check back then. And hey, if you can read it, go sell it. I'm doing everything. You can at least go sell it. But here nor there was always an excuse. Your writing's horrible. Yes, but I'm top sales. Like, I could probably teach that, don't you think? But they told me no too, on top of, the pharmaceutical. And it's because God had a different plan. So when you ask about that, Tony, I still wasn't sure. I was still in just doing the deal. I was going out trying to get the deal. Somehow, some way, somebody's going to give me a chance to do it. And they did. And, I tell a lot of my agents, some of it want to do it together. And a lot of times you can't do it together. You have to go make your name and then, go help other people do the same thing. Because this industry, and I think you guys feel the same way, until this platform was built, is very lonely, especially if you're the top agent, you're hated on. And then, just being by yourself is hard. And that's what I tell a lot of my agents. Being at the top is lonely. And every book you read, they say the same thing, that it's lonely out there. But when you get around winners and you find other winners that believe in you and want to lift you up, like you and Tony, it truly can change your life for the rest of the milestone, because we're not done yet. And it to help just keep feeding that wheel so that good agents get in here and keep this industry, because they need us. I mean, this stuff is hard, whether it's life insurance, PNC, everybody's calling them wanting their business, and not all of them are honest. So
and let's stay here on persistency, but let's pivot to your persistency and what you're doing within your agency, right? Because like we're talking about everything that you're doing, like you're going to kick off these annual reviews, birthday cards, you're on TV, let's maybe pivot to that. I really like this because you're obviously a very persistent person, right? So let's talk about how you're exercising that, and maybe some strategies you're using to keep your persistency high within your agency as far as your clients go.
And I tell you, I already said this before, but the reason I go to these things is to get fed back into. We are out there all day pushing it as leaders, which Tony and Joe, we may want to start a leaderboard, because you get burned out until the next, conference. But I do have a fire in me, and I really, my mom was adopted, and I honestly think it's from my grandpa that I never knew, because the reason her and him were not together is my grandmother's mom said you cannot marry a self-employed guy. So I feel like it's been a generation, and that was his deal. He was supposedly an artist, and you're not supposed to be self-employed back then. You're supposed to work for the man for 30 or 40 years, get a nice Rolex watch, and retire and go live on the beach.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. So I think, and even my grandmother's day, she's 83 and she doesn't get around good, but she 5 years ago was cleaning floors on like she cleaned houses and she would clean on the floor. She wouldn't use a mop. So my heritage are German, which tells you stubbornness right there, to a fault from that side. And then, my dad was very, very smart. They were just young. They were 16, got married. He was an entrepreneur, just not legally, So I learned, I guess, skills, from that, but just wanting more out of life and wanting more for my son. My son was not planned because I hadn't had the talk. And to come in on that and not knowing, just like not knowing your business, I wanted to do it for him. I wanted to show him that no matter where he started, where we started, and our favorite song is, we started from the bottom, now we're here.
Oh my gosh, that's literally my dad. I gotta send you the video of my
That's
dad.
awesome.
Video of my dad blaring that because he was having a good day, and he comes in, he's like dancing in my office. That's
See?
hilarious. Yep.
Yes, and that was ours. And anytime
It's
it
true.
played on the radio, I would either text, we started from the bottom, now we're here.
Yep.
And when he graduated, each milestone, I would be like, we started from the bottom, now we're here.
Yep.
And I hope one day we can share the stage. I hope he gets the bug. I don't want to be the parent, the little league parent that's always there and living dreams through your son, but I want to be happy. I wish it was happy being a partner with me, but at this time it's not. So that's, Joe, what kept me driving. And I'm to a fault, I love to help people.
Yeah.
And I run my agency, which I'm working on, like an LOA, and they're 1099. So I just got bit really hard on doing that. So I'm trying to change the model to where they need to take more responsibility to grow their business, because I'm buying the leads, paying for the office. Having a name here, it's just easier, to work with me because the leads are already flowing in because I built a name in the community for 17 years.
Yeah.
So I think some people are born with it. Like Coach said, some people can be awakened to it, because I did see a different side of my son after that movie. He talked about it all dinner, all dessert. I mean, he just couldn't keep it, like, wow. So I think it can be awakened. It takes a lot of some, like the one you just hired that did his license in 2 weeks. Wow.
Right.
I had an agent just do that. She was a nurse practitioner, and she got tired of going, she wanted to help this way and be a minister. But I've never seen it in 17 years that. So to find those people that are hungry, because I used to say, how can I motivate these people? Instead of realizing we need to find the motivated people because there's tons out there, not in our industry, that need us, instead of stealing from each other, which I get it. It's easier to steal from someone that's trained than happen to go out and start all over and teach them from ground up,
Yeah.
And
Don't try to motivate the unmotivated, direct the motivated. Just channel that energy and point it over there and they'll run, and
Absolutely.
in regards to being awakened, I think it has to do with exposure. Continue to expose them to the opportunity.
Yes.
Roger Short he says, come and see, just come and see.
Yeah.
Just come and see. Like, we're not going to just come and be a witness.
Yes.
I can definitely attest that that's what happened to Grace, my wife, right? I remember driving back from 8% Nation, the first one I took her to, where Michael Irvin spoke, and we were driving back, and I looked at him like, so does any of that make you want to sell insurance? And I was never trying to recruit her. I wanted her to do her own thing. She was a phenomenal bilingual teacher, worked at a great school, did her thing. But I just asked her, I was like, does any of that make you want to sell insurance? And she looked at me, didn't say it, but she just looked at me and no, not even interested in y'all's little rah Michael Irvin stuff going on. Like, what? She had fun, she enjoyed it, but it didn't make her want to sell insurance. But then I think the thing that really flipped her was when COVID happened and all these industries got wiped out, hers included. Like, they shut down her school, no severance, no nothing. You're out, and all I had to do was just leave my office, because Austin wouldn't even let us go to our office, so I just went working home. And after about 8 weeks, like, the light bulb kind of went off, and she's like, okay, 25 million people are out of work, but Tony and all his little insurance friends, they're all still making money. Like, and so I think all of that over the culmination of a couple of years made her realize that, there's something here for me. So it was the same thing. She's already super motivated. I don't have to motivate her. She works harder than I do, truthfully, just to be frankly honest with you. The girl is a beast. But it was, again, just exposing her and then directing her and just letting her go do her thing.
See, I'm saving the industry for my wife, because my wife comes in here, y'all, like y'all, hey, ain't all y'all gonna be put out of business, man. I'm like, she will unleash. It's so funny you say that. So she was sick and tired of hearing me take calls at the house, right? So she's like, she has to know everything, and she's like a double major grad out of WashU, like, I mean, brilliant, genius, freaking, like, I mean, amazing. And literally, she goes, I'm tired of freaking hearing all this. She goes and buys Insurance for Dummies and reads it in a day, like the whole thing. I mean, it's like a phone book. Y'all have seen them. She read I mean, she's talking to me about, hey, you shouldn't be saying full coverage because there's no such thing as full coverage but if they have every single coverage on the auto policy, they've got full coverage. That really what they mean is comprehensive in collision. I'm like, what the shit? I'm like, how? She goes, yeah, I read this all last night. I'm like, yeah, I'm saving the industry for Maria. Like,
hey, Joe, I'm hiring for Medicare, okay?
Medicare Maria.
Yeah,
That's
that's
right.
funny.
We can carry it right over and duplicate it.
Eminem.
So what beach are you hanging out at?
Destin. It's only 6 hours from us. We just found out that's only 6 hours.
From Chattanooga? Right, you're in Chattanooga, aren't you?
Yeah.
Destin's only 6 hours from Chattanooga?
Only 6 hours, yeah.
It's nice.
You can't beat that.
So
I was gonna
another
go out
question
on
I
the weekend,
had
it's hot.
that was a little off topic. Is that by chance, is that advanced checks still there?
Yeah, still there. And he sold it now and was doing furniture, the rent to own furniture that's outrageous.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't know. I think he just sold that too, so he may just be kicking it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would think that buying advanced checks might be on your radar. Or at least that location.
Oh, that's a
Just
nice.
saying.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
That might be
That's
a little
really cool.
target to throw out there for you one day. Is I used to
Go
take
ahead.
loans here, and now I'm giving out loans here. This is my joint.
Missed the checks.
Yeah.
I like it. I just think those rates are outrageous. They get you.
They are. They're killing people. They're killing.
Yeah.
See, so you could take it, or you could buy the business and then reduce the
And
rates
make
a little
it
bit,
better.
make it a little more affordable, right?
I could.
Just an idea.
And
just an
half
idea.
of those people are on Medicare, Medicaid. So we have a bunch of booths that are set up at Check Into Cash.
See, there you go.
Yeah.
You can have all your Medicare Misty signage in there.
Make it legal.
Have a little extra
Give you
couple of
money in
questions on
Medicare.
the advanced checks document, like, hey, are you 65 yet?
That's funny.
I like it.
Why not?
Hey,
gotta-
it could be a business deal for all three of us.
There we go. Winners. Hey, Missy, I got a question for you. So we have a lot of younger, newer agents in this group, and I think we have a healthy mix, but we still have a pretty healthy following too of younger, newer agents. So even go back 17 years, or maybe even go back since Medicare Misty started, right? What are maybe 2 to 3 things? I know we've been kind of touching on it a little bit here, and just kind of the persistency and the drive and wanting to do it more than for just you, right? Type of thing. But like, what could be like 3 practical things that when you started Medicare Misty, this is how I started my business, right? Like, what could maybe be a couple things, 2 to 3 things you could share with somebody who is, or maybe they're struggling in the life space, but looking at and that's what Tony's been doing, right? The Medicare opportunity, really educating people on what all's out there. And honestly, a lot of people don't understand how massive the Medicare opportunity is, and how many millions of people are turning 65, yada, yada. Right? Like Tony's like, hold on, man, not in my town, not in my city, right? No, but like, what would be 2 to 3 things? Hey, I'm looking to start, and Medicare Misty is obviously an amazing brand. I was checking out your website yesterday. I mean, it's freaking killer. What are 2 to 3 things that you could maybe enlighten somebody on?
I think what I tell my agents at the beginning, you have to run this like you're an employee. Like, you have to show up every day and do something. And if you don't have the discipline, because I'm not going to call you, I'm not a micromanager. If you don't have that discipline, then you would not be good in this field. I had my good friend, she's like, Missy, I am not motivated. I'm going to tell you right now. I want to be somewhere from 9 to 5, and I want to leave. I want to be done. And then I want to get together on Monday. Or if it's a holiday, I'm going to be off because they're going to pay me.
Right.
And I said, cool. tell me now before I waste a year or 2 years, on you when you don't have the drive to do it. And so I say, and be at the office every day to do something, not just to sit there, but or out marketing with a dentist office, with a financial advisor, with a PNC. One of the topics I want to say, why not work with a PNC, collaborate? Y'all are getting the calls, that want a Medicare agent. So why not partner with somebody? I don't want to do PNC. So I partner with the PNC. They don't want to do Medicare because all the testing. I have a few that, are from farmers, because farmers have that big cut. But the same thing, they said, Missy, it's just so easier over here. I know this. I get what you're saying. This is easy. And I'll even sit down with them for a week and train them to say, look, this is easy. And as soon as I leave, it's like, I forget everything. They're like, I forget everything. So if you can't be disciplined enough to do something every day and make a contact, chambers are, the cheapest probably networking, or start your own. I tell a lot of my agents, start your own networking event. Bring your own. I think Cody's dad did that. Bring your own PNC, your own life insurance guy, and make your own, that way. And when you help, when other people, like one of the TV channels that I've been on for about 17 years, he wrote a book. So I went out and I said, okay, and it's a kid's book. So I said, I'll buy the books and then we'll go to the schools and you'll film it and then just put sponsored by Medicare Misty. So it got his book out there. It got what he wanted. And then it also helped me build my business on top of now the passion to maybe write a child's book, because the hunger in the eyes of children, the questions they ask, how'd you do it? What made you, how much money do you make? How long do you have to do it? What made you want to do? I mean, I was so like, wow, this is where we should be starting, because this is when they're hungry before the world gets them, the mean world, like Rocky says, it'll beat you down. And so I say, and find a good mentor, I think would be the second thing. I really would thought about putting a school out there to pick a mentor, because we get told so many things, and half of it's not true. And I'm sure majority have a good heart or, to do it. But a lot of these agents are left out there kind of dry and told, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. And once they sign them up, you never see your mentor again. So discipline, activity every day, a mentor. And you said 3 things. A third thing, I would say, have a little extra money. I did grassroots marketing at the beginning to get the money to do the cool stuff now. And you can still do that. We're in a city that there is festivals everywhere. Right. There is and there's a church that wants to have one if there's not one in your town. And people want to be around other people. What's the biggest thing we learned? You need more people, not more money. And I would say do your own thing. If nothing, one agent told me, we don't have any of that stuff in our town. And I'm like, nothing, like at all? Well, then good, start it, because you're going to be a badass.
Like, perfect. That's like perfect.
That's even better, and you can partner with other agency. I partnered with home health. Before I had the money to get the money that I get from the carriers, I would partner with people that had the money, like home health care, retirement homes, and, be able to bring something to the table where we could do it at their place, use their people. And then, I would give a door prize and I would help get the people, do the marketing part of it. So there's a way to build a business, and you can't do it by yourself, obviously. So get in your community, help them get what they want, and then return. You're a win. You're both winning, It's a winning Wednesday for everybody.
Come on, let's go.
Right. I love that you said that. We have a people problem, not a money problem.
Yeah.
Coach Burt always says that. So speaking of people, how many people do you have on your crew now? How big is your team? I know it's been growing.
It's been growing, and then it had a little setback. So I still have 30 agents, and then I've got 2 that are trying to get licensed. So
it's awesome.
In
how many states are you in? 23 states now.
23 states, yeah. 50. I'm doing
time,
what did Coach say last time? Do what you want to do in a year in 30 days. So I may be in all 50 states in the next 30 days.
Come on now. Come on now.
Get that wild air.
I love
I mean,
that.
this is just a beautiful history. Like I've been writing it down the whole time. We started Unum. We're advising agents on how to sell disability policies, right? We're told we got to get an outside sales. So 25 times we get rejected by big pharma trying to do outside sales
Yeah.
because we listened to our friend who doesn't have a code, dropped out of college. We get on with Cigna. We get on with Humana. As we continue to grow in the business, we get on with Blue Cross, and then we start our own deal. And
First
then
outside
now
sales for Blue Cross too.
we're in
That's pretty
23
impressive.
states with 32 agents. Get out of town, man.
Come on,
That's a
that's a
beautiful
win.
story.
Mhm.
And
Thank you.
that's a great example of persistency in this business and what you guys can do with it. Like, I mean, that is, I love the fact that you and I've gotten to meet and interface and hang out and build a friendship. If you guys ever get a chance to hang out on a party bus with Medicare Misty, I don't even, can't even point over there, right? Do it. I promise you, it's a great time. We were
Joseph
hanging
is
out at
not-
SWAT, and she was nice enough to rent a party bus for Sandra Gephardt's birthday, and we all went out on it and just had an absolute blast. So she is not just all business in persistency. She is a lot of fun as well. So
Yes.
if you guys are ever in the same room with her, make sure you go share some space with her because she is an inspiration for this business and just a beautiful, beautiful example to
Yep.
everybody in the industry, not just females. So I really appreciate you being on the show. I appreciate what you do for the Medicare industry, what you bring to it, and the example that you set. So Joey, if you have any last comments for her, I know we got to wrap up here pretty quick. I want to respect everybody's time, and I know she's got some people next door that are begging to write some business with her anyway, while she's hanging out on the beach listening to the tide. But yeah, take it
No,
away, brother.
I just want to say, there's so much, and you can, and this is what I love, and literally, I just got to really like meet you in person at SWAT, which it's so funny. You said, God works His ways, right? And it's like we sat next to each other at SWAT for a reason, right? And like
Amen.
obviously, like I'm connected with Sandra, and you're connected with Sandra, and then it's like, and then of course we're sitting right next to each other at an event that propels this momentum that we're all riding, right? And then now you're on this call, and I really just want to say, like, I can feel your compassion and passion and just drive and really just love for other people through a video call. And I love that. I think there's so much power in that, again, with your clients and with agents, right? And so I want to open this up to, hey, if you are a single mom out there that is trying to make it, right? Or maybe you're looking for somebody to do it with, like reach out to Medicare Misty, right? And we don't typically like promote, but like anybody that wants to reach out to Misty, like again, because like I believe in what you're doing and what you're trying to really create within this industry. Feel free to reach out, and I don't know. I
Yeah,
don't know
what's
if
the
you
best
need.
way to get a hold
I
of you,
don't know if you
Misty?
need to drop your website and stuff because it's pretty obvious. But like, if you want to give out like contact info or anything, feel free to share that.
MedicareMisty.com. And I appreciate that from both of you. That means a lot coming from you too. It takes a village. We're here together. And that's what I tell people that are in competition. There's people that are going to like me. There's people that's going to like Tony. There's people that's going to like you and work. There's enough of us to help each other. So I appreciate that shout out more than you know. And I appreciate you too. So MedicareMisty.com. If you're interested, would love to chat. We also have a conference. Am I allowed to talk about our woman conference coming up?
Bring it on.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
We have a woman conference coming up next June 23rd, or I don't even know the date. Listen to me. Like, they're going to kill me. They're like, you don't even know the date. June 23 in Nashville. And I'm trying to get Dolly there. That's going to be my big win if we get Dolly there.
That'll be sweet.
To come talk, to help women help other women. So that she's been my idol for a long time. So anybody knows her, call me.
Love it.
Right on. Well, thank you again for coming out again. It's big appreciation. You know, I love you to death. So thank you again for joining us on the show.
Thank you.
Guys, thank you all for tuning in. We greatly appreciate it. We're here every Wednesday, 9 a.m. Central. And if you haven't already noticed, some of our past videos are now getting pushed to our YouTube channel. We've got some great content out there. The Nick Ayers video that we did is blowing up. The Dave Williams video is blowing up on it. So go back and check those out. This one will eventually get pushed to the YouTube channel. And more importantly, subscribe. Right? Subscribe to the YouTube channel and you always get notified anytime we put out new content. So thank you all again for tuning in.
Thank you.
Have an awesome, awesome rest of your week. Let's close it out and we'll see y'all next Wednesday.
It's Wednesday, y'all. The week ain't over. Let's get it.
Woo-hoo!